be persisted. You may have heard this trending on social media recently. I'd like to copy this phrase from the political forum and paste it into the educational forum. It bears weight in the political forum, of course, but it bears weight in the educational forum as well, and I want to tell you why. It comes down to failure and how we approach it. Carol Dweck's philosophy on failure and her ideas on embracing failure and what it means to lead to a growth mindset have taught me a great deal as an educator. I've taught thousands of students in 14 years of education, and now I teach teachers. I don't know if developing a growth mindset is the answer to our many educational woes, but I know that we are craving a nudge in the right direction, and developing a growth mindset is that nudge in the right direction. The reason why, nevertheless, she persisted matters in education comes down to research Carol Dweck conducted back in the 80s. She was looking at bright fifth grade boys and girls. She wanted to see how they approached challenges. And what she found was that the girls were quicker to give up than the boys, and that the boys seemed to be excited by the challenges. This different reaction is invaluable to me as a teacher. I spend my time pining after the best ways to reach students, and now the best way to help teachers reach and teach their students. If boys and girls approach challenges differently, this is important for me to know as an educator. What happens if girls give up quickly at the first sign of challenge? They start to fear failure. They start to stop taking risks, and they don't reach their full potential. And I didn't get into education to do anything but help students, all students, reach their full potential. In 9th grade, I auditioned for the play Annie. I had my sights set on being cast as Miss Hannigan. If you know anything about Miss Hannigan, you know that she's tall, very domineering, angry, not very nice. In 9th grade, I was maybe 5 foot tall and a lively, vivacious cheerleader, hardly a Miss Hannigan. But I was determined that if I practiced long and hard enough in my living room in front of my parents and my sisters, I could convince anyone that I was Miss Hannigan. I auditioned. I got called back for a second audition, and I went and did that. I went up against my best friend, Brooke, and another friend, Erin Caitlin, both of whom had way better singing voices than I did and happened to be taller than me. In the end, I was not cast as Miss Hannigan. I was devastated, felt like a huge failure, but I checked the cast list and I was cast in the play as Ira the Bum. And some of you are thinking, who even is Ira the Bum? I don't recognize. If you watch the movie musical, he kind of makes a cameo. Anyway, I was Ira the Bum. And my immediate reaction was to run to the front office and call my mom, hysterical crying, and tell her that I was not Miss Hannigan, that I was Ira the Bum, and I was quitting the show, and I was done, and I was not doing it. My parents were apologetic with me that I did not get the part that I wanted, but they pushed me to persist and to approach the part that I did get with as much excitement and zeal as I had Miss Hannigan. And so I did. I played the heck out of the part, even though I only had one line, and no one has ever heard of Ira the Bum, maybe until this very minute. And I learned a valuable lesson about what once was a setback and a possible failure, turning it into a learning experience. The important part of that story is not that I fell off the proverbial horse and I got back up again. The important part of that story is the feedback that I got from my parents to persist, to not give up, to face the setback of being cast as Ira the Bum and be the best Ira the Bum that there ever was. There are at least 2 cornerstones in a child's life that help to develop their mindsets: feedback from parents and feedback from teachers. Praise is vitally important to all children. The way we talk to our girls especially is important if we want to help them learn to persist, to face setbacks and failures and struggles. There are many different types of compliments that focus on who we are and compliments that focus on what we do and what we've accomplished. If we want to make a difference with the young girls in our lives, we need to focus our compliments on what young girls can do and what they've accomplished. This will build their self-esteem and push them towards facing struggles and strife and adversity later in their life, help to develop their growth mindsets. So what happens if we don't change the way we talk to our girls, the way we compliment them, and the feedback that we give to them? There's this behavior gap that happens between boys and girls when they start kindergarten. Girls tend to be more quiet, listen, pay attention, follow directions. Boys tend to be a little more gregarious, playful, maybe not follow directions. This difference in behavior actually leads to different feedback from teachers. Incidentally, we are conditioning our girls to do really well while they're in school. They're learning behaviors to follow directions and to listen, and it makes them successful in school, and they actually outperform boys all throughout school. This is not transferring to the corporate world. There's a disconnect because somehow, even though our girls are outperforming boys all throughout school, men are outnumbering, outperforming, and out-earning women in the corporate world. This might be happening because of the different feedback we're giving boys versus girls. Boys tend to get feedback like, keep trying, don't give up, you'll get it next time. Girls get feedback like, great job listening to directions, good job sitting and being quiet. The feedback we're giving boys is pushing them towards taking risks and trying new things. The feedback we're giving girls is pushing them away from trying new things, pushing them away from taking risks. So what happens if we don't change the way, I was supposed to mention that these are not absolutes, the statements about boys and girls. I was not a young girl that sat and was quiet and listened. I obviously rocked the boat quite a bit. So what happens if we don't change the feedback that we give our girls in school? We're going to continue to see huge gaps in the coursework boys choose versus girls in our colleges and universities. 22% of students taking higher level physics classes in college and university are female. So why aren't more girls taking classes like physics? Some people might say, well, they don't like physics. But I'm raising a daughter right now. She's 3.5, and she is the most inquisitive and analytical kid I've ever met. She is constantly asking me, how, mama? Why, mama? Where, mama? She is fascinated by how things work. And I think the root of loving a class like physics, if you can love a class like physics, is a love of wondering how things work and why. I think the answer to why girls are self-selecting out of higher level STEM classes is less about what they innately like and don't like, and more about the mindsets that we're developing in our girls in school. If we want to push our girls to persist and to face struggles and failure and strife, we need to push them to take risks and to try new things, and that will lead them to taking higher level STEM courses. For me, the greatest example of Carol Dweck's mindset has been watching my daughter learn to walk. She's 3.5 now, but at one point she was learning to walk. She failed many times. Never once did she say, I think I'll just hang out here on the ground. Walking's not for me. She got up every single time. Girls are not born with a fixed mindset. They're born with a growth mindset. I saw it in my daughter as she learned to roll over. I relished in it as she stood on her feet for the first time. I cheered as she learned to walk, and I curse it now because she's learned to run away from me very far and very fast. Watching my daughter learn to walk has taught me so much about the impact of empowering our young girls. If you want to make a difference in the young girls in your life, push them to be persistent, push them to take risks, push them to try new things. If they're cast as Ira the Bum, you push them to be the best Ira the Bum they ever were. The beauty of a growth mindset is that it's malleable, it's fluid, it's dynamic. If a young girl in your life has a fixed mindset in a certain area right now, she can fix that. Because no matter what she dreams, no matter what she wants, it's all for her. Don't ever let a young girl say, maybe it's not for me, because it is. Whatever she dreams, whatever she wants. No matter what obstacles women face in the coming generations, I hope that it is always and forever said, nevertheless, she persisted. Thank you.